New videos every day.
This is Athena Jezik. We're in part 2 of the cranial sacral demonstration work and a little bit of teaching what's going on. So where we left off is we finished with the sphenoid bone, and we're going to go to the temporal bone now. That's where the ear is. The temporal bone is an interesting bone because it has different movement. It rocks in and out as well as rotates. And it's kind of gill-like, and when we're in vitro, when we're embryos, it's very gill-like, and it still maintains somewhat of a gill-like movement, even though it's a bone. So we're going to be doing 3 different movements on the temporal bone, and it starts out by having the hands behind. There's actually, I'll show you the way we were to hold the head and then put the thumbs behind at this mastoid process, which is that part that hangs down a little bit, the temporal bone behind the jaw. And it's a little tiny inward squeeze and outward squeeze. There's a rocking of this that can be done too, but primarily you just want to do a little inward and outward. What I do is I just put a little inward push to it, not any more than 5 grams, and you can feel the top part of that bone opening up, and then I use the pads of my thumb to kind of let that bone come back into place. So you rock it there a few times, and when it feels nice and open and clean, then you move to the next position, which is rotating the bone, and that's done by putting the finger inside the ear for the leverage, placing the other bone up, the other finger. You're going to have a finger on the part of the temporal bone that comes into the cheek, the zygomatic arch, and the other one on the mastoid process. So it'll be looking like this on their head. You'll be having your hands like that. So there we are. And you do that on both sides. And then with that, you wait for it, and you'll feel the motion going forward and backward, because this is the rotative movement of the temporal bone. And it's just rocking it back and forth. Until it feels nice and smooth. That's the best thing I can think about. The best word is it's a smooth feeling, like it's slipping on ice, which is the membrane. It's not catching anywhere. It's not hung up anywhere. It's just a nice, smooth movement. And then the last one that we do for the temporal bone is an ear pull, but we're actually pulling the membrane which is inside of the head. And so it's important to get deep into the ear and take the pull from more behind the ear at a 45-degree angle and give just a little pull from more behind the ear. You don't want to like pull on the ears like this. You don't really want to do that. You want it deep down in there. So you're actually grasping the bone. And it's only a 5-gram pull. You don't want to go any farther than that. You don't pull with force. And when you do that, you're oftentimes going to feel a little bit of that rocking, that rotative action, as it also spreads out. And this is stretching the tentorium. And it's quite a nice, expansive stretch. And right now she's expanding very, very nicely on this one. And you can see that head movement was her own head, moving just with changing as the tentorium is releasing somewhere inside of that head. Okay, and then we do the jaw, which we're going to place the hand under. There's a little notch there. Just place it there and slightly pull upward in kind of an angle position, and then we're going to take the hand on top and let that jaw come kind of a downward curve. A lot of this seems kind of weird, but once you get your hands well trained in this, you can feel the bones very, very well. And you'll also know, you can tell where they want to go. So it's very easy to follow them. You just don't want to lead them. You don't want to push them. You just want to encourage them to go to their point of correction. Okay, and then just stretching the jaw. And you can find some tremendous amount of bone in the upper part of the head. Oftentimes will find a lot more changes that it can do as that jaw tends to go down. And I don't know if you could see that but her foot moved again. So she's got a lot of movement happening. It would take a few sessions to get that rotation in the hips corrected. But the most important thing is to get the sphenobasilar junction lined up so that the body can have a straight fulcrum. And then from there, everything else can align. It's like working from the inside out. It seems as if we work from the outside in the way that we practice correction in today's. Her other foot released, and she's quite deep into the work. And then to end the session, what I like to do is check the neck, and I almost always find much more range of motion in the neck because the sphenobasilar junction is more corrected, so there's much more movement to the neck. That's almost 100% of the time I find that in even the body work that's not that they're not concentrating to go deep. There still is some change happening. And her chin is lined up better. We'll see what's happening down in the hips. I did not give her a sacral pull in this session. There's another thing to be done at the sacral level. And here I'm just working that hip and leg in to see if we can get some change. This is much more open here. It's got a lot more range of motion in that hip. It's not as stuck and hung up. This is where the test is, so she's still got some correction to happen in that hip, which probably is going to have to come with more work with the sacrum. Okay, and so that's how much change she's made. There's a 12 to 48 hour window of tissue reorganization where that will probably change a little more, but we still do have more work to do there. And then I like to end my sessions with these bowls. I don't have very many bowls, but I have very nice bowls. And so I'm just going to show you how I end my session with people.
If you liked this video, we have hundreds of more alternative videos ranging from sexual health to psychology to mind control. So if you liked it, go ahead and click on me to enter the Psychetruth channel.